I think I have an interesting topic for you guys today. It's something I've thought about for a while and something I have feelings on, and I might lean a certain way, but I think it'll be an interesting debate down below. And this is relevant to both Chivalry 2 and Mordhau, and it's a divisive topic and something that probably holds the genre back from the mainstream. And what I want to talk about is exploity or kind of niche moves in medieval slashers, things that look so janky, you no longer appear to be in anything resembling even a Hollywood sword fight. And these are things that only a small percentage of the player base even knows how to utilize. And what I want to talk about is using these types of moves. Is it actually skill or is it just more of a knowledge thing? And here's where my mind kind of gravitates towards when thinking of some of these things. If you play a fighting game like Mortal Kombat or Hellish Court, you just hit start, you go to the menus, and it'll tell you every single possible move your character can do. Everyone has access to the same information, and the skill comes from applying it. But in games like Chivalry or Mordhau, you do the tutorials, you're taught very basic concepts of swing manipulation, and they definitely do not teach you to look down or away to break animations. If you want to move past learning the most basic concepts, you have to go to YouTube and really search it out. And I know both myself and Coach Dave do touch on some of these techniques in videos, but we both tend to rely on just strong fundamental knowledge of the core mechanics of the game. And I actually do believe that strong fundamentals beat flashy stuff the extreme majority of the time. But much of this stuff, it's gate kept from the extreme majority of the player base. Like, I have a list of videos to make, and I know I plan on making a short on reverse overheads, and this technique, it's relatively easy to perform. If I made a video, thousands of people who had no idea what a reverse overhead was would suddenly have that knowledge. But as far as I'm aware, there's no video out on the internet right now teaching people how to do this. You have to really be actively involved in the communities and seek out someone to tell or to teach you how to do something like this. And it's the same with something like matrix dodging. The knowledge for this stuff is just not really out there. So when access to information or moves like this is so difficult to get, it really makes me question, are people really being outskilled by some of this stuff? Or are they just being out-knowledged? Like, I can say with confidence, probably less than 1% of the overall player base knows what toe drags, rainbow drags, reverse overheads are, how to spin, how to triple feint, all that good stuff. And I think this is something pretty unique to this genre. Like in Call of Duty, everyone knows what quickscoping is, but the ability to apply the skill is what makes people good. And I use the example above. You play a fighting game like Mortal Kombat, you hit start, and you can see all of the characters' combos and moves right there. But in Chivalry, you can hit start, and you can't look up how to do a rainbow drag. The movesets, they're just not easily accessible. And you see this a lot in Mordhau, and now I follow Mordhau way less than Chivalry, but through the years, I know there were many exploity drags and excels that were near impossible to block, and players would use these to just destroy people and call it skill. But the thing is, most of those techniques are actually pretty easy to do mechanically. Like, it's not necessarily an example of mechanical brilliance, but especially in Mordhau, a lot of the knowledge on how to perform those movements, it's gate kept really well from the general community. Like, if you want to learn how to do some of those things, you need to be proactive enough to go into a dueling community and find someone nice enough to show you. So the majority of the player base aren't really playing on a fair playing ground or equal footing to the people who are actively seeking out that information, which is hard to actually get. I don't know where I'm going here, but to me, it's a bigger expression of skill when everyone has the same tools, and how you utilize them is the true example of competence. Like, maybe these games, they need tutorials with mouse tracers, like move your mouse in this motion to perform this type of swing manipulation. If anyone has any idea if this would be something that's possible for me to set up somehow to do with my tutorials, please let me know. This stuff is past my technological pay grade. And maybe I'm a bit off with my thought process here, but if you guys ever played Elder Scrolls Online, the game launched with a bug where you could throw normal light attacks in between your abilities. It was not intentional nor explained, but it was left in the game so long and called skill by veterans that the developers, they just can't remove it. And it always boggled my mind a little bit because all you had to do was hit left click after each ability. Any moron could do it, and people call it skill. And while moves in Chivalry or Mordhau might be a tad harder, I just wish more people had access to the entire toolbox. And now I'm thinking out loud just about this whole topic, and I do see applications of some of these moves as an expression of skill. But as I have more discussion on the podcast about how a medieval slasher could be more successful, cracking the code of putting all the maneuvers out there front and center is a puzzle I think this genre still needs to solve. Maybe some of these complete noobs we're hitting with drags that we've been practicing for 2 years could be our equals if they had the game feed them more knowledge on how to do these things. Or what if some developer, they figured out how to solve the exploiting mechanics and were able to figure out how to make a slasher where you have to play the game as intended? I'm rambling. I'm not sure if I even made an ounce of sense with this whole rant. Just consider this me thinking out loud. Let me know down below, what are your thoughts on these maneuvers? Is it exploity? Is it an expression of skill? Is it something that the game would be better off if there was less animation, breaking, and jank? Let me know. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just speaking out loud here. Get to the comments. Champ out.